Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh God, not this again. So this is my new smartphone. I'm gonna use this camera and just see how it looks. Oh boy. So I've had a real fun time. Yeah, it's like Friday, I think. Oh fuck. Something like that. Yeah, I think it's Friday. Yeah. Oh boy. Anyhow. So, after the Haven Circuit show, and I think I did one. Let me close this real quick. There we go. Yeah, let's see. Let's get this figured out here. Put you on top of this one. How's that? Okay. I look weird. Okay, so after the Haven Circuit show, of course I felt a little embarrassed because I got pretty drunk. But, yeah, for one, I was like, oh, well, shit, now what am I gonna do? And I went to MCAT, which is like a local cable station that's publicly funded. And they want me to do like an after-school program with my oscilloscopes. So, yeah, that's like the first week of February, so that should be good. So I'll just do that for fun. And other than that, like, after the show, I was like, well, fuck, I did a show, now what do I do? And Molly wanted me to use the scopes for one of her shows, but that fell through. And then the guy wanted me to do one for a noise band show, and that fell through. So just one thing, you know. Yeah, so that kind of sucks. Let's see, but, yeah, the reason that the whole Molly thing fell through is because, people started doing call-up posts on me. And especially, as far as I know, there's only one real big one. But it was Danny, what's his face, Hattie's old friend. And, yeah. He's like, oh, CJ, aka Dog Salad's a rapist. Keep him out of your community, ban him from everywhere. And then I messaged him, I was like, Danny, maybe you shouldn't say that. Like, do you know that? Imagine what you're doing to me in the case that you're wrong. And then he blocked me. So I had to go through a few other people to try to talk to him, which didn't really work. But they talked to him for me, sort of. And he made a very half-assed post that said, okay, he's not a rapist. But I don't trust him. So I was like, what? Yeah, so that is really depressing. Because he runs a lot of things in Missoula for, like, queer people and groups like that. So, yeah, super shitty. He called me a rapist, and then when he was basically forced to backpedal, he made a really half-assed attempt. So I've just been kind of laying around for the past few days, feeling really shitty. I can't do anything. Fucking ridiculous. I don't know, I just get frustrated and I can't do anything. Feel really depressed. But I refilled my antidepressant prescription, so yeah, I was running out for a minute. Yeah, so a few people said that I should like make like an accountability thing because they think I'm abusive or manipulative. I don't think I'm manipulative anymore, but there's certainly some relationships that I wasn't very nice in, but I don't, like, aside from Hattie. I was definitely slightly manipulative with Hattie, but also that was the worst point of my life. So I just don't think it's anybody's fucking business. I just don't think that anybody should care about the way that my previous relationships have worked out. Or, yeah, I just don't think that it's their business in the first place. So, yeah, and then people are like, well, maybe you should do like an Instagram post. And I was like, I thought about this for a while. I was like, okay, Instagram post for one, my coworkers and people who have no part of this um, would suddenly be drugged into this. And for one, I don't want that. And another thing is that people don't give a shit. Like, I think this is probably already old news to a lot of people. And people are just going to be freaked out by me or whatever when they see me and not hang around me. And that is fine. Because it's not a lot different than it used to be. The thing is that right now I just feel really depressed because of the whole situation and how shitty it was. Like, saying like a very, very strong accusation that has no backing, and then doing like a very small backpedal like that and announcing it to everyone, especially after like I just recently started to like build up my own confidence and feel like a person, and then I was like, fuck, and then suddenly I get like, I don't know, slandered basically. Somebody tells the whole fucking world that I'm a rapist. So yeah, for one, Molly was like, is it true that you did this? And I was like, no. And then she's like, I'm willing to hear you out, but I have to separate myself from you. And I find that pretty hurtful. Because when you tell somebody something and they, like, I keep on saying this, but like throw you into the guilty until proven innocent camp, when you thought that you were their friend, is a little hurtful. So I didn't say anything. And then she made a post that's like, well, I don't think it's right to leave someone in social isolation until they're like forced to leave the town or whatever, which I haven't done. I've just been doing my own thing, playing games. I don't think it's right. But I thought that was kind of funny considering that she like immediately distanced herself from me. Like, okay, so you don't think social isolation is a good idea, but you isolated me from yourself. So, all right, somebody else will do your job for you, I'm sure. It's not hypocritical at all. And I invited her over to play music, but she wasn't interested. It wasn't really an invitation to play music. It was an invitation to discuss things, and I guess like I could have just been very direct about that, but I was hoping she would just pick up on the hint, but whatever. Yeah, and she said, well, we're not friends anymore, and I don't want you to do the oscilloscope thing. It's like, whatever. So, I think, like, I was considering doing a post that was like, I absolutely know what, like, what do you call it? The thing, I completely understand that consent is very important, right? Which is funny because Kaylee, when we were like fucking as friends or whatever, and still like broken up, there's one point where I was like really not into it, and I didn't really express myself that well, and even though I was like physically not into it, she was still like forcing me to do it, and it felt horrible. So yeah, after that, I decided I will never fuck her again. No. Aside from how much effort I've put in to our sexual relationship, and it was not fulfilling. Like, I've talked about this before, but I did not like to fuck Kaylee. I did it because it made her happy, and then it kind of, I don't know if it was me doing that, which kind of destroyed the relationship or not, but, I mean, besides that, it did build up resentment, but it's like every time that I asked her to do anything, it was a no. And then when I asked her to help me with this situation, she said, I don't know. I can't help you. So I told her, if you won't help me, then consider this friendship over. Fuck you. Because she didn't have to do anything herself. What I asked her to do is tell me who is saying these things so that I could talk to them directly. And she would not work with me. And that is so stupid. I don't know why people will not name any names. It's so fucking hard to get any information out of anyone. Like, that would compromise their anonymity. Yeah, you're posting on Instagram on a public page, I'm sure your anonymity is very important to you. It is. um, yeah, so that's fun. Anyhow, I told Jill, like, yeah, so this stuff's going down. I'm sorry. Um, and she also immediately threw me into the guilty until innocent camp, but quickly, um, I mean, I'm not sure if if she's scared that she won't be my friend anymore, but I mean, it is kind of a shitty thing to do. But she's kind of supportive, and I wish she would just not involve herself at all. I wish she would I just don't want to talk about it. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to live like a pseudo normal person. You know, socially. I want to live like a person who has a social life, which is something that I have almost never had. Like when I was in the Whip Ass Girls, it was kind of getting there. But yeah, I've literally actually barely have ever had a social life, and I just don't know. So I mean, after all that, I was actually considering like, well, what if I moved? And maybe it's like, maybe I should. It's probably way overdue, but it's a lot of effort. So who knows? Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. I'm still thinking about it. I mean, it's always an option, right? So there's that. What did I get? I got a few things in the mail. Oh, I got this bad boy because I was trying to make a Sterling engine for a few days. Oh, what the heck are you grinding against? Oh. Jill's texting me something about animals again. What is this thing creaking about? Don't do that. This thing is really making a lot of noise. Anyhow. Yeah, it's a Sterling engine. And I was trying to make one, and all my attempts failed. All 3 or 4 of them, I think. Like, here's the most recent one. But it's a little falling apart now, but I also kind of bent it out of shape a little bit, but yeah. For 2 of the engines I made, the first one and this one, they when I had it on a hot source, it did spin one way easier than the other way. So I mean, it was working, but not well enough to actually start pushing itself along. So oh well. Yeah. So I don't know. I spent like a few days just laying around watching YouTube, feeling really depressed. Drank a bunch. Got a bunch of wine here. Bree came over. I told her about like, hey, there's a rumor going around that I'm a rapist, and apparently it doesn't bother her. She left her jacket here, so I gotta give it back. She fucking wears way too much perfume. Oh well. So yeah, I just feel uninspired. I feel destroyed. Cancelled. That's a term that I've recently learned. I feel cancelled. But that goes for a lot of things. This is going to be one of those videos that I regret talking about, probably. But I understand that I hate the word mansplaining, for one. This is going to be a short rant. I hate it. Because, of course, I, like, do it, right? I think a lot of people do. But then, the thing about that is that it's satisfying to tell others about things that you know that they don't know. That, like, you get the opportunity to inform them or teach them something, right? So if I do a deep dive on something, I assume that a lot of people probably haven't done that same deep dive. Like on Sterling engines. I could probably tell them about Sterling engines. But the thing is like, if you tell somebody something that you don't know, and they happen to be a girl, then chances are they're just going to call you a mansplainer, instead of being like, okay, that's interesting. Do you want to talk about Sterling engines or something? like, I find it satisfying. It's not like a thing to only like bolster my own ego, but also that I think it's fun to impart knowledge on others and like teach them something they didn't know. So it's like, I don't know how fucking queers and trans people function with all these ridiculous rules. Like, it is so easy to just accept. I don't know why I feel this way, but it's so easy to accept anyone for whatever they want to do, and people who are flawed deal with it. People who are like weird or like even rude or I don't know. They don't conform to the set of rules that are just magically in place due to some, I don't know, I don't know, like some strange anti-patriarchy or something. um, like these rules are just, I don't understand any of them. And being like pronouns and everything, it's like, just fucking guys, don't be so uppity. don't get so upset about everything. I will gladly accept all the weirdos for however weird they want to be, but it really seems that because I am perceived to be like a white straight male who is normal or something, even though I'm definitely not. Like, people know that I'm a weirdo, but then I'm so like the weirdest kind of normal person there is. I don't know. Yeah, because of these things, there's like, I don't know. There's things I feel like people draw conclusions about me. Just trying my best, man. Trying my best. Such as, yeah, conclusions such as that people immediately throw you into the guilty until proven innocent camp when they hear something about you. Would they do that if I explained that Kaylee was doing something very similar? Would they do that to her? I think probably not. So, yeah, kind of shitty. So I went from feeling confident and like growing and learning things and building and making things to full stop. That's it. Just full stop. Yeah. So that's that. So yeah, I think I might go to like a Go Hibiki show or something on the 2nd. And maybe out of spite, I might show up to Molly's show on the 23rd. I think that would probably stir up some drama, but I don't know. I was kind of fantasizing when I was really mad about this that I could carry around a taser. You know, that's relatively painful and not deadly. But I really don't think it'd be in my favor to do that to someone. They would probably, you know, if I defended myself in some way, I think it would probably work out not well for me, considering how well nothing seems to work out socially for me. Yeah, just kind of irritated about the whole accusation of being a rapist thing, the horrible, lame-ass backpedal, and then Molly throwing me into the guilty camp, and saying that I shouldn't be isolated even though she isolated me herself. And just the huge ominous feeling that if I fucking go out to a show or a public or something, like nobody will want anything to do with me because of these things. And I feel like I'm helpless and I can't even do anything. Like, I have no support from anyone. And it's always been that way. Like, I just can't. Even when I ask people for help, that it is never received. So I don't. So I don't ask people for help. But there was this really nice girl. I think I don't know. She's like, you know, trans or queer or whatever. So I don't want to say anything. She's like a femme, I guess. I don't care because they. I think it's like perceived as dangerous to be masculine, or perceived as destructive. I think that's destructive. To tell people that, to carry along that sort of idea, because half the world's men, and if they can't be themselves, then you're destroying half the world. Good luck with that. But she was very nice anyhow. She honestly tried her best to recommend courses of action for me. She helped me talk to Danny through her and correct him. And fuck. And yeah, she recommended that I should do like a text post or something. But then I was like, you know, it's Instagram, dude. Like, for one, I don't want to bring in my people who aren't into this sort of thing. And for another, nobody gives a shit. And so I think what I'm going to do is fuck it and just live however I want to. And if somebody wants to confront me about this, which I am almost certain that no one will, the only time that someone's going to confront me about this is going to be when they like ask me to leave or something. Some sort of like queer-based party. I thought for a minute that what if I like dressed up totally queer or gay or whatever, just wore earrings and something. I don't even know where I would start. Like, the only thing that I can imagine is wearing earrings and like colorful clothing. Fuck if I know. I could put on makeup. But considering that nobody seems willing to accept me as a social person, I feel like that would be one way about breaking back into the scene. I don't know. If everybody thought I was a weirdo, if everybody thought that I obeyed the rules of this weird-ass, strange millennial world, then maybe they would let me be their friends. But the thing is that I really just don't care. I don't care about style or politics, even remotely. I don't care. I do not care, because I have to focus on me. As deeply destroyed as I've been my entire life, I have to do what's right for me. And focusing on politics and the happenings on the other side of the planet are, you know, maybe important to some people, but I need to fix myself first before I try worrying about that. And there's an argument to be made, I think, about doing the right thing for others will teach you how to take care of yourself. But I would like to do that on, you know, a more personal scale. I don't know. Rant over, I guess. That was a tangent and a half. Yeah. Oh boy. So maybe Jill and I will play music today. Not excited, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something. I haven't played games still. I did play with Bree when she came over, but I didn't do anything beyond that. Yeah, so, I don't know, play some music or something. Should probably quit drinking so much booze, but I've been drinking a lot. Just kind of, I don't know, you know, pass another day, I guess. Till I start feeling a little better. I felt kind of a little better today. It's funny that I spent most of the last like 4 days sitting right here or laying down watching YouTube. Either looking out the window or watching YouTube. And that's all I've done. At one point I did wind this coil for a jewel thief. And it looks massive. I really don't think it's going to work. All the examples I've seen have been a lot smaller. But it's the only one that I have right now. But yeah, I wound this for a jewel thief. This would be the transformer, I think. Because maybe I'll do this eventually. But the idea is to make a jewel thief that runs off of either solar power or temperature differential. And power a small motor like this. That would probably hang, I think. And then these little crystals that I have in the window here, which I kind of like this. They're kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest, but because, you know, they fall down and everything, and they get in the way when I try to feed Beetle. But the idea is to hang it from one of these, and then just limit the current with a potentiometer, probably. So that it turns very slowly. And I mean, I would kind of like it to be very, very slowly, like less than a rotation per minute, you know. So, I think in principle the Jewel Thief will work, especially off of solar power. Or I might need a bigger panel, but I doubt it, because I used to have like a solar kit, and those little engines will move, you know, a little bit. They'll move kind of quickly. I just need to figure out how to work this and power it up. Like, I ordered this panel of American Science Surplus, and I'm not really sure how to wire this up. It has two little, like, metal things on the back, and I imagine that it just throws out a DC voltage, DC current, but I don't know. I also have a Peltier device, but it's actually a thermoelectric cooler, not a generator. Although you can still use those as a generator, apparently. So I've been learning a little bit about electricity because I guess I got kind of, like, I've always wanted to know about electric currents, because it's seriously magic, and I think I could ask probably almost everyone that I know how electric currents work, and nobody really knows. And I've been, like, trying to learn how we construct things out of electricity, but I still don't really understand electricity that well. Like, okay, last night I found a really simple explanation that ohms are measurement of resistance. So that's why when the ohms go up, it's inverse. Like, the resistance is higher when the ohms are going up. Voltage is like differential in energy. So, you know, if you have a high voltage, there's a really high differential in energy. And then amps is current. Yeah, okay. And AC and DC are... AC is really good over long distances, and then DC has a very high current, and then AC has a very high AC has very high voltage, I think. But I mean, you can still get voltage and amps and everything out of both ways, because AC pushes the electrons, like pushes one and then it hits the other and hits the other and hits the other, right? And then it goes back and it goes forward and goes back. So you don't actually have to like push so much, I guess. And then DC is powerful, but I mean, this is just how I'm understanding it right now. So I'm just saying it aloud to see if I understand it. And I think I'm getting a lot of this wrong. But DC is more like a straight current, where you have to have like a loop. Or like a, it has to go to ground. AC is generally considered to be more dangerous than DC. And, yeah, stuff like that. Ugh. Okay, I'm just gonna watch some YouTube. Bye.